When you buy a coffee and hand over a physical coin, that money immediately transforms into digital data and plunges into the vast routing network of the global economy. Finance dictates which industries thrive, what technologies get developed, and who actually gets access to resources. Yet, to most of us, this machinery feels completely abstract and entirely disconnected from our daily routines. For decades, the traditional financial system has operated on a very narrow objective, maximizing short-term profit for shareholders above absolutely everything else. This obsession with immediate returns generates massive wealth right now, but it hides the true bill. The long-term costs of those profits are quietly passed on to the planet and the people living on it. This dynamic brings up an idea called intergenerational justice. It is the recognition that the current economic machine often runs by taking out a loan against the future, offloading the true costs of doing business onto generations that haven't even been born yet. Look at this aerial view. The debts piling up out of sight aren't measured in dollars. They are measured in severe climate risk, the rapid loss of biodiversity, and widespread social instability. We can change this by asking a different question. What if we stop treating capital as a neutral calculator and start using it as a deliberate lever to build the world we actually want to live in? That is the core of ethical and sustainable finance. It reconnects money with a broader purpose, ensuring capital actively supports long-term ecological balance and human dignity. To measure this broader purpose, ethical investors use a framework known as ESG. It moves past simple profit margins to evaluate a company's true impact on the world. This infographic outlines those three pillars: environmental footprint, such as climate mitigation; social responsibility, which covers equality and human rights; and governance, meaning transparency and accountability at the executive level. Consider the scale of global corporations operating on the traditional path. To keep prices low and profits high, they frequently externalize their costs. A prime example is the mass production of single-use plastics that pollute oceans, or aggressive groundwater extraction that leaves local communities with depleted drinking water. On the ethical path, companies willingly absorb the true cost of responsible business. They prioritize fair pay for workers, guarantee safe conditions, and build transparent supply chains, even if it means their products are priced slightly higher on the shelf. Ethical investing actively channels capital into systems that value resilience and equity over pure extraction. Of course, the global economy cannot flip a switch and instantly turn green. Essential sectors like heavy manufacturing, transport, and energy are carbon-intensive right now, and they lack widely accessible green technologies. This text highlights transition finance, funding for industries with high environmental impact that are actively working to reduce it. The money comes with strict conditions. Companies must present credible, time-bound plans to align their production with international climate targets. This acts as a vital safety net. It ensures that sectors starting from a difficult, heavy emissions baseline aren't simply cut off from capital. They get the funding they need to actually make the shift toward climate neutrality. Zooming out to the highest levels of international policy, the United Nations has established a universal blueprint for a just, peaceful, and livable planet. This official framework maps out 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. From eliminating poverty to securing clean energy, these interlinked targets provide a measurable roadmap for protecting the environment and ensuring human prosperity by 2030. The financial reality is that the cost is staggering. Reaching these goals requires an estimated $435 trillion every single year. Public funding and government budgets barely make a dent in that gap. To close that massive shortfall, private capital has to step in. Without a conscious, large-scale redirection of money from banks, investors, and everyday people, the vast majority of these goals will remain completely out of reach. The global financial machine might seem untouchable, but it runs entirely on capital fed into it by everyday people. You are a crucial part of the equation. That gives you leverage to demand a different set of rules, one that replaces the narrow obsession with shareholder returns with a broader responsibility toward every life the money touches. The term stakeholder covers a much wider group than stock owners: workers in the supply chain, local communities affected by production, future generations inheriting the earth, and the environment itself. Under this model, the sheer volume of economic growth matters far less than the quality, inclusivity, and sustainability of that growth for the people living through it. This checklist details how to pierce through corporate greenwashing. Start by critically assessing the narrative. Look past marketing language and demand hard evidence of real social and environmental impact. You can also align your daily habits. This graphic outlines steps for ethical banking. Research where your current bank invests its money. If they fund harmful industries, consider switching to platforms that prioritize transparency and local community impact. The next step is advocacy. Use this process to demand public accountability. Join divestment campaigns, contact your representatives, and build coalitions to pressure institutions into transparent financial reporting. You can directly support systems that redistribute value. Look into participatory budgeting, where citizens decide how public money is spent, or join financial cooperatives that are owned and controlled democratically by their members. This framework is an ongoing journey. Stay informed on new regulations, share your knowledge with your peers, and apply these evaluation tools to your career and consumer habits. As summarized here, ethical finance is a practical framework for action. It recognizes that money is a deliberate tool. Every purchase, every deposit, and every investment you make is a tangible vote for the world we want to live in.